ENTV today, you're in for a treat. Get ready to get fire hosed with value by the real Grayson Marshall Jr. Grayson Marshall, welcome to ENTV today, sir.
Absolutely excited to be here, and let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So, people that don't know who you are, can you go into a little bit of that and then let's just jump right in the deep end?
Absolutely. Born and raised in Washington, D.C. My mother's a principal. My dad was a teacher. My sister's the current head of online education for the Department of Defense. So I came from a family where education was paramount. It was never going to be negotiable. I was fortunate enough to be blessed athletically. I lettered as many times in high school as I could. That led to me accepting a basketball scholarship at Clemson University, where I started for 4 years. I graduated all-time ACC career assist leader. I'm in the Hall of Fame there, and I'm actually an ACC basketball legend. So documented from a standpoint of athletic and academic prowess when it came to who I am. But at 27 years old, I was homeless. And that doesn't seem to translate because of the pedigree or the actual plan of life that I had. But the reason that that was the case is because I realized that what school taught me was not the rules of the world. There was a big shift there. There was a whole lot of information that academia never provided for me when it came to the world. So when I really chose to pursue my aspirations, I was inequipped. I had documentation, I had diplomas, I had degrees, but I didn't have the right equipment. And so I began this quest of learning and understanding what was missing. It started with being rooted in a faith-based lifestyle. I was born and raised Roman Catholic, so I was in religion. I went to church, but there was something missing as far as it related to the fullness and scope of who I was. And once I found that in having a faith-based belief system, being a Christ-centered follower, because I don't use the term Christian, the reason that I don't is because there are organizations out there that claim to be Christian, like the Ku Klux Klan. We don't see life the same, so I will not take that label, but I'm a Christ follower. So when I began to look at that, then I began to really reflect and see how and why it didn't work for me, because I did everything they told me to do. And so when I stepped back, I was able to really look at it. I was able to process some things through faith, be able to understand some things that were missing scholastically, and then was able to put the BS blueprint together. And BS stands for belief system, but it also stands for be synergized. It also stands for be soulful. There's so many things that go with BS, but most of us live a world in BS. And so I really try to pull that out of people from a different perspective. So I've been an executive coach for over 20 something years. My main, I guess, client is the athlete transitioning out of sport. But once I got into that space, then I started attracting people that were transitioning out of the military. Then I got people transitioning out of their normal jobs, moving from W-2 to 1099, everything in that specific change. And then I really got to a place where it was really about mindset. And it was really about identifying why we think the way we do. We always go search for why we do the things we do. But I want to take it to why do you even think that way? Where did that come from? Because you can make all the adjustments in the world. You can take massive action like Tony tells you to. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand why you think that way, massive action just has you going in a direction with a whole bunch more energy and not the right mindset to make the shift as necessary.
I'm not stopping you. Keep going, please.
So for me, what I look to do is I look to find, and here's what I've been working with lately, the ones who don't think they need work. I find myself working with the people that are established and moving forward, who really want to grow. What some people have done is they've created marketing concepts that attract people from an enthusiastic, motivational space. The shiny ball syndrome, they've learned to apply it. So what they do is they bring people in to a program that's already predetermined for them, and they get them excited about their program. They don't know what the program is. They're excited about connecting to the person behind the program. Well, how can I give you a coaching program if I've never met you? How can I give you my 12-week program and I don't even know if the 12 weeks even apply to you? Because it's not about that. It's about me selling my system. If you look at social media now, everybody wants to buy into a system. If you need coaching clients, I've got a system. It'll just cost you $15,000 to figure out what my system is. Well, they know good and well that you'll never find the system because it's really not hidden in there. The essence is you being guilted into spending money to make money. Now, don't get me wrong. There is an investment in everything that you want to grow, do, and become. but it's got to have some substance to it. So when I work with people, it's really about, where do you want to go? What is it that you want to do? Because here's what most people do. They gravitate towards something external so they can have a way to make an excuse when they don't do what they said they were going to do. It's no different than somebody going to a counselor. They go to a counselor not to get well, not to get healed. They go to a counselor to have somebody else to blame it on. Because at the end of the day, when I go to get counseling, and I'm not knocking counselors, but literally, if I go to a counselor, they need me to keep coming back. They don't make any money when they release me and leave. So at the end of the day, that is part of the system. We become so dependent on someone else's opinion that we never take the time to validate and value ourselves. And I understand that because for me, having parents that were educated, that were postgraduate people, I never learned what my passion was. I was told to find a career path that paid me well, not my passion. And 99% of the people in the world are doing just that. And they live lives that are unfulfilled. They live lives that are still missing something. They're still searching for it. So they turn to their hobbies. They turn to their other things outside of their job to go get it, which is why people want to leave their job. You don't leave your work. People who have work don't want to ever leave work, because work is your passion, is what you love to do. Your job is what pays your bills. So we literally live in a world where we're trying to escape the job to enter into a place of comfort. From the time we start working, we want to be comfortable. So what do? We look for retirement, and we want to retire as early as possible. Well, my contention is, you, if asked, would tell me that nothing grows in the comfort zone, right? So why do most people want to rush to find a comfortable place? Because they don't really want to grow anymore, but yet they say they want more out of life. It's the greatest contradiction that we have, and nobody wants to hold anybody accountable for that. Why in the world do you want to be comfortable if you want more out of life? If you're not finished doing what you need to do? But this is a mindset we have to battle back and forth. That's why I focus on that part of it. You say you want to have more, be more, do more, become more, but yet you're seeking comfort. They don't work. And so for me, when I'm having conversations with people, it's really about, do you understand exactly where your mindset is right now? Do you understand that it's not in line with what you say you want? It's a true contradiction. So we almost live in a schizophrenic world, the world of cognitive dissonance, saying one thing and really believing another. And this is where the majority of people are. So I get a chance to find those people who really have battled with that and say, you know what, Grayson, I do want more. Fine, let's work on that. And let's work on where you are. Where are you right now? Where have you been? Why do you think the way you think? Tell me why you're not where you need to be. And 9 times out of 10, it is an excuse based on something else that happened, based on a past trauma, based on a past experience. All these things that they've given more power than the power that's in them. I want them to be what Ephesians 3:20 says. Now, unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think, according to the power that worketh in you. Everything that you need is inside of you. I don't care what it is that you want to accomplish, it starts inside of you. If we never tap into that, if we're never rewired to understand that, everything external will always have more power and control over us. And that's what I want to get people past.
Where did you learn this? Their parents, some scholastically, sports, where did it cement into you?
I think once I really found out that faith was the root and the backbone of everything, and I realized that most men don't have faith. The Bible says all men have not faith. When I really understood that, and faith had to be tested, now I had to get to a real place of, I got to apply this in my life. I got to walk this thing out. And most people can't do it because we're such an outcome-based society. We've been trained since we were little to evaluate everything we do on the outcome. And if the outcome isn't favorable, then we go back and over-scrutinize who we are. We go back and check ourselves and find out what we did wrong. Well, I'm from a different school. I believe in my faith-based walk. So if all things are working together for my good, then why are there ever wrong decisions? If everything's working together for my good, then there are no wrong decisions. If you look back over your life right now, at the age that you are, could you have looked back at 3 years old and said, these are the exact circumstances that would get me to where I am today? No way. So why would you try to do that for the next 20 years? You couldn't do it now, but I believe you'll end up at the right place. Now, with better information, better understanding, you can navigate some of these things in a little bit better place. I tell folks all the time, you just got to learn how to navigate your heart a little bit differently. Heart's coming. You just got to learn to navigate it differently. Most people that navigate drive the car, let heart drive the car instead of you driving the car. So going through the things that I went through, being homeless at 27, understanding success and failure in business, I understood this concept when I wrote my book, Do Positive, The Keys to the Life You've Always Imagined. There was a section in that book that I talk about the education system, and I held back because my parents were, everybody's in the education system. So I didn't want to talk about it in a negative way. But the one thing about that book was the elements of the creation of the education system are what keep us from walking through our faith, right? So we're individually made. None of us are the same, yet school wants you to be as alike as possible. School taught us that failure was bad. As a matter of fact, so much so that we avoided failure at all costs. When in essence, the only road to success is through failure. So in my desire to avoid failure, what school really taught me was how not to succeed. So I never put any effort into success. I put effort into maintaining, being satisfied, status quo. I literally became average. That's what school creates, average. But let me tell you something. You and I were never created to be average. We just accepted average.
Okay, I just recently read stuff that John D. Rockefeller, who initiated the school system 130, whatever years ago, went on record, it's on Google, and said, listen, I'm not trying to create business owners or creatives. I want worker camp people.
He said, I want a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. That's what he said.
That's not enough reason to get your kids out of public school. I don't know what is.
Absolutely. But here again, what we are is we are so controlled by constrictive narratives that we don't do those things, right? We're placed in a place of fear when it comes to our own thinking by ourselves. So when you start thinking by yourself, you literally become the anomaly. You're like the unicorn, right? So many people, because they're afraid of that separation, that label, that identity, they choose not to do that, right? Ostracism, we are so socially dependent that we want to be accepted by everybody. And that becomes the norm. So as long as that is our norm, then we will never be able to step out and do what we want to do. So if you look at the forefathers of our country and what they wanted to do, when you look at Horace Mann, who literally was the father, considered the father of education, this is literally what they wanted from the beginning. They wanted this. It was based on the Prussian influence. And Prussian was a two-class system. You had the aristocrats and the proletariats. You had the haves, basically, and the have-nots. And this is what they wanted here. The beautiful part about the United States, which is now going to, wearing a handbasket, is in 1894, 96% of America was self-employed. We literally did the things we wanted to do, but when the Great Depression hit, industrial America came in, the whole mindset shifted. We started to accept this. We became dependent on the government system more than our own natural ability, our own creativity. So now they became our default, and they became the measure of what we wanted to do. Before 1909, there was never a major in a university. You got a college degree. In 1909, the Chicago School of Divinity started introducing majors, which now began to create limitations and pigeonholed you into lifelong careers, that they control the cap of what you can make. So now when people decide to grab and pursue what they want to pursue, they don't have the background for it. They don't have the mindset to it. That's why they end up defaulting back to where they were. They end up quitting. Why? Because it's not naturally in them. What's naturally in them is to work and accept. What's not naturally in them is to go for what they know, and they're okay with failing. And our society pays a lot of money for failure. The best baseball players in the world get out 7 out of 10 times, but they get paid millions of dollars to get out twice as much. Here's the deal. They're not trying to get out. They don't practice to get out. It just happens. They really get paid for the 3 hits that they get, but they have to be willing to fail. The best shooter in the world, the history of basketball, is probably Stephen Curry. He misses 6 out of 10 shots and gets paid millions of dollars. The fact of the matter is he doesn't think about missing. He doesn't practice to miss. It is just the nature of taking shots. We've never been taught that. We've been taught to accept what they offer you, take the value of what you have been granted and make a life out of that. And so for me, I want to find, and I continue to find people who want to think differently, but they've got to be held accountable to that process. It is a whole rewiring. It's a whole relearning. And it's about a consistency that has to maintain. It's truly about discipline. I think Jim Rohn said it. You got to learn to discipline your disappointments. And this is what comes in life. But expectation is the happiness killer, but we've always been taught a language that is counterintuitive to our nature. Why would you expect when you can't control anything outside of you? But expectation leads to depression. Disappointments come from expectation, but your expectation was in someone else, not even in you. So how can I turn this to where you become personally responsible and accountable for what you say, want to do, be, and have? And that's what I make sure that I do.
Wow. Wow. Okay, starting, where do people start from? They're hearing this, they're like, Grayson, amazing. Where do I begin if I feel I'm at the bottom? Even though all the greatness is in me, if I don't believe it's in me, where do I start?
Well, the first thing is let's have a conversation. Because here's what I realized. Anybody who wants to get better at something, I don't care whether it's an instrument, a sport, or anything, they got to find somebody to walk them through it. Einstein put it like this. He says, you can't fix a problem with the same mind that created it. So what we're trying to do is go into something with the same thoughts that we have. You've got to be willing to do something different. You spent all those years in school trusting people who didn't know a darn thing and gave them all your time, credibility, and effort. But now when it's time to do your own thing, you don't want to do that. You invested $40,000 a year in a college degree. So it's about 160 grand you invested in a college degree, yet you won't invest a couple grand in a coach to take you to a different place. It's a mindset. So the first thing you got to do is shift the way that you think. Change that way. So now I've got to say, okay, if I want to go here, I need some instruction in going here, first of all. But now I've got to find somebody that cares, that's reliable, and that has some credibility. I've got to find that. And I've got to really search that out for me. Now, once I do that, I can move forward. But the first thing they have to do is you got to decide you just don't want it to be the same anymore. That's the first thing that has to happen. And it has to be a relentless pursuit on your part alone and in your part with the person that's leading you. So when I take clients on, they hit me up on Facebook, they hit me up on my email, or go to my website, thebsblueprint.com, and we set up a consultation. Let's talk about what you want first, because I don't want to work with just anybody. Somebody's got to really want to be at that next level, and they can't just do lip service to it. So once they begin to make that step, now we can outline what it is they really need. Now we can look through where your literal blocks are, because I'm disconnected. So I can look at you based on body language, what you're talking, what you're saying, and hold you accountable. I can know whether or not coachable is in who you are. And how far do you want to go? I don't know. I got to hear that from you. So many people still want someone to tell them how far they can go. I can't do that, but I can help you go as far as you want to go.
Wow, this is fire hose indeed. I love the value, Grayson. You're just blasting us today. So please drop links after in the Facebook. I'll tag you so you can find it and all that.
You got it.
Where are you going this year? 2024. What's your end of year? Where are your sights set?
As it relates to my personal sites, I want to fully embrace me. And what I mean by that is there's so many things that I have in the works right now. I've got a men's clothing line called Manicure Apparel, Present Your Best Self. I really want to reinstate or reestablish men in their own viability in society. Society has done the best they could do to emasculate them and get rid of them and move them. So how can I do that back? Is by implementing and making sure that they are signified in a way that makes sense. So message and t-shirts, hoods, hats, everything like that is what we're doing. I'm moving my podcast mindset up when it comes down to it. I do one every morning. It's about a 15, 20-minute talk. And that's turning into a full-blown podcast in Nashville and Charleston. So there's a lot that's going on there. I have my executive clients. Matter of fact, I'm in the office right now Fortress Roofing. The owner of the company is one of my clients. So actually, as she's transitioning her company, I just came in to be a part of that transition. So my whole goal is to see as many people as I can get to that next level. Here's what I've never done. I've never put a end goal on something, never have. Because I believe goal setting, as the way we've been taught it, is completely wrong, and it hurts more than it helps. For example, when we've been taught to set goals, one of the things they tell you is to do is set SMART goals. I know you've heard that before, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive, right? Now, you're supposed to set goals for positive things that you want in your life, true? Now, let me ask you this. The minute you put a time frame on anything, what are the emotions that immediately are evoked when you put a time frame on it?
Pressure, fear, anxiety.
Stress, doubt. So wait a minute. You set this thing for something you want positive, yet the emotions that it generates are negative. Why do you think most people don't hit their goals? Because your approach to them is completely wrong, yet it's what the gurus have been teaching, so we just follow it. I'm going to tell you, it doesn't work for 98% of the people. It just doesn't. So I've got a different approach to goal setting, which makes it better. It moves it to accountability. So for me, when I'm looking at goals, number one, the goal has to be in truth. What I'm going after has to be attainable. If you said to me right now, Grace, you know what? I really feel like I can be the next quarterback of the New England Patriots. I would say, you know what? That's a great goal. I don't think it's happening. So it's got to be in truth. Number two, it has to be in love. So what I got to do has to be in truth. It's got to be in love. Why do I want to do it? And it can't be for money. Money should never lead. It should always follow. So why do I want to do this? Those two things have to stand out. Then thirdly, a goal has to be 100% in your total healthy control. If your goal involves other people, it's not your goal. Because you can't control anybody else. Yet when we set goals, we want to include other people. That's why we don't get there, because you're waiting on them to do their part, and they don't even know what it is that you want them to do, or they don't have the same passion because it's not their goal. So we end up getting stuck because we're waiting on other people to do their part. And then number four, goals are to be done present moment. I got to get it done right now. If I put it off for 2 days, guess what happens? Life happens in 2 days. Everything comes in the way, right? So it gets pushed off. If we begin to change our approach to getting things done, we will get more done. But we have it in a messed up mindset. They give us ways to do things that we know is not going to work. They know that. They've taught us that. They want you to spend money on continuing to try to make it work, as opposed to learning how to make it work and not coming back. That's why my coaching programs are only 90 days. They're not 6 months, 2 years, 2.5 years. Why do we need that long? At the end of the day, let's get you in position to understand, realize, and recognize what it is that's been stopping you. The next time you see it, you know how to move beyond it and keep it going. I believe you be there for people, teach them not to need you, but be there when they do. So all my clients are still in my life. 10, 12, 15 years later, they will still call me because they're still my clients. But they've gone on to do amazing stuff. And here's what I've said before. There's a lot of people I've coached that make way more money than me. Absolutely more. But here's what I know. I can coach for the rest of my life. The greatest coaches are never the top earners at anything. As great a coach as Phil Jackson is, he never made the money Michael Jordan did. He never made the money Kobe Bryant did. But they couldn't be there without him. I've always prided myself in being that person. That doesn't mean my life is good or wonderful because of what I do, but I know what I do. I don't play the comparison game. I play the individual passion pursuit game. I want to be the best me, the best version of myself. I want to present my best self. And that's what I want for other people. This kind of dialogue is never, ever shared with people. It's somebody's 3 steps to success or somebody's motivation. I'm not that way. And I can see your face. Your face is the same face that I get anytime I speak anywhere. It's like, whoa, oh my goodness. And for some reason, it seems to resonate. It makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. And that's what's important to me. How can I get you empowered to go do what you need to do? And watch you be successful as heck. That's what I want.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Grayson, thank you for being here on Empower ENTV today. What a gift. So ENTV today, if you've been watching, I'll be tagging Grayson Marshall here. Reach out to him. Grayson, please throw any links you have in the comments
I will.
after.
You got it.
And I would like to get, if you're interested, we run free networking events here called First Date Networking Events. You can come meet 10, 20 awesome people, collaborate, JVs, new friendships, whatever you want. You'll see those here. I'll tag you in something for that. And thanks for fire hosing us with value today, Grayson.
Absolutely. Anytime. Anytime I can be of help or service, I want to. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay
Thank you.
focused on it. And whatever the next level is for you, if I can help you get there, let me know.
Okay, we'll call it here. Great job.
Got it. You got it.